everyone. I welcome you to Capernaum, the town of Jesus.
This is the synagogue. The synagogue of that time. Private houses buried under artificial podium of the monumental synagogue. Black stone remains of a synagogue predating the monumental synagogue. Areas evacuated by the Franciscan archaeologists Carbo and Lofreda in 1969 to 1981. The white stone, the monumental synagogue of 4th to 5th century AD. They went to Capernaum, and when the Sabbath came, Jesus went to the synagogue and began to teach. The synagogue is made up of 4 units, namely the prayer hall, the eastern courtyard, the southern porch, and a side room near the northwestern corner of the prayer hall. The prayer hall with facade toward Jerusalem is rectangular in the ground plan. A stylobate divides the spacious central nave from the aisles. Stone benches were set along the eastern and western aisles. The focal point of the prayer hall was the Jerusalem-oriented wall of the central nave. The trapezoidal shape of the court was dictated by the line of the houses along the main north-south street of the town. 2 staircases gave access to the unroofed floors. Another staircase was on the northeastern corner of the courtyard. The synagogue was built almost entirely with limestone blocks. The decorated elements, lintels, cornices, capitals, etc., leave the visitors spellbound. The synagogue is not earlier than the end of the 4th century AD. According to the Franciscan archaeologists, other archaeologists prefer a date in the late 3rd century AD. Under the monumental synagogue, a basalt stone wall was found, which is interpreted by the excavator as the remain of an earlier synagogue, either of the time of Jesus according to Carbo, or of a later date. A 1st century AD stone pavement found under the artificial podium of the monumental synagogue in the central area of a prayer hall seems to belong to the synagogue built by the Roman centurion. Jesus visited several times that synagogue. The Gospel of John relates the speech of Jesus on the bread of life on that synagogue. John 6, verse 59. Under the side aisles of the prayer hall and in the area of the courtyard, several remains. The houses were found with pottery of the Hellenistic and Roman periods. The synagogue at Capernaum.
And this is the ruins of the synagogue in Capernaum, the town of Jesus. It's so peaceful there. Only the bird chirping you can hear. On the side of the fence, you can see the old columns used on that time. The vases filled with grapes and leaves are typical of the Jewish harvest festival of Sukkot. Makeshift huts, sukkahs, are built and dined in, recalling the book of Exodus and the Israelite dependence on God for their survival in the desert. See the 6-point star of David, known from the biblical times as David's shields, became a symbol of Judaism only as recently as the 18th century. It is now the central motif in the flag of the State of Israel. The Aramaic inscription on this 5th century column reads, Alphaeus, son of Zebedee, son of John, placed this column here. Maybe it is inscribed to him as a blessing. Apostolic names like this persisted in the region over the centuries. 5 of the apostles were from Capernaum. Now we're going up to the house of Peter. Peter's house, believed to be where Jesus lodged, is now under a modern church. as you can see. I'm trying to show you the inside. The House of Peter, a group of private houses built around the 1st century BC which remained in use until the early 4th century. Excavators found a simple 1st century house that may be Peter's, possibly Jesus' home. It's later become a place of communal gathering and later a church, and this is the church. St. Peter's Church, also called the Pilgrimage Church of St. Peter in Capernaum, is a modern Catholic pilgrimage church found archaeological site of Capernaum in northern Israel. The church is part of the Franciscan monastery in Capernaum. St. Peter's Church. Thank you all for watching.